Route tables are designed to direct the flow of traffic, but firewalls are used as a security measure to designate who is allowed and who isn't allowed to access resources in the VPC. For example, imagine a hacker with a known IP address attempting to access your web subnet. You could add a rule to deny requests from their IP address, and the hacker won't be able to access your subnet. There are two types of firewalls in the context of VPCs, the first of which attaches to subnets. These are known as Network Access Control Lists, or Network ACLs for short. They operate on subnets, so you can't attach them to the whole VPC, although you could attach the same network ACL to each subnet. They're stateless, which means you have to define both the inbound rules and the outbound rules. So you might have allowed outbound access to the internet, however inbound requests or responses coming back may not be allowed. Each rule has a rule number, which determines the priority of how they're evaluated, going from the lowest rule number to the highest. And as soon as a rule is matched, the evaluation stops. For example, here's a rule table for the web subnet's network ACL, and here's an incoming request over HTTP. The network ACL will check the request and evaluate rule 100 first. As 0.0.0.0/0 represents every IP address, the request source IP address is a match. HTTP also operates over TCP port 80, so the protocol and port range is also a match. Hence, the network ACL will accept the request and allow the traffic to enter. But let's say a hacker on a different IP address is attempting to connect to the subnet over SSH, which could provide them unauthorized access to the data. The network ACL will first check the request against rule 100. SSH operates over TCP port 22, so it won't match with the rule, which only accepts TCP port 80 for HTTP. The network ACL will then check it against rule 200, which in this scenario acts as a catch-all case. All protocols, port ranges, and source IPs match, but the rule says to deny the request, so the hacker will ultimately be denied. The second type of firewall operates directly on resources and infrastructure rather than the whole subnet or VPC. This type of firewall is known as a security group. It works on resources separately, which means you can designate different rules to different resources. Unlike network ACLs, they're stateful, which means returning traffic is automatically allowed, so you don't need to define both inbound and outbound rules. If you allow traffic to the internet, for example, you don't have to explicitly allow it to give you a response. It will be allowed automatically.